Welcome to the second section of the Field Supervisor Orientation. If you have not done so, we encourage you to watch the first section located on our social work website. My name is Jennifer Gervais, and I'm the Social Work Field Placement Coordinator. I will be your narrator today. The Social Work Department is excited to provide you this Field Supervisor Orientation online to accommodate your busy lifestyle. We hope that you find this orientation user-friendly and applicable to your role as a valuable field supervisor. In this section of the orientation, I will share with you the requirements of the social work program curriculum, the development of the learning agreement, and how to evaluate a student in a field placement setting. The UWRF social work curriculum prepares graduates for generalist practice through mastery of a set of core competencies that meet the requirements of our accrediting body, the Council on Social Work Education. These core competencies are expressed as measurable practice behaviors that are comprised of knowledge, values, and skills. These competencies serve as a link between what may be observed or demonstrated in student knowledge, value, and skill performance and the program's curriculum expectations established in the program mission, goals, and objectives. The learning agreement is comprised of these 10 core competencies and the corresponding practice behaviors. The learning agreement can look like a pretty daunting document. It has to incorporate all of the competencies taught in our courses. Field is where it all comes together. Many supervisors have found that the learning agreement's practice behaviors help them think about the wide variety of activities that their students should experience. You will find that many of the plan's practice behaviors will cover multiple tasks or activities at your agency. Students may need assistance from you for specific agency tasks or activities that apply to their learning agreement's practice behaviors. By the end of the 5th week of placement, you and your student should finalize and sign the agreement. Your student turns it in then to the faculty liaison, who will also review it, make possible changes, and then return a copy of it to the field supervisor. The learning agreement then serves as a basis for evaluating the student's performance in a field placement. You will get a list of important dates from your student that will let you know exactly when the learning agreement is due. It is your student's responsibility to make sure that this gets done on time. Now, let's take a little time becoming familiar with the learning agreement. The practice behaviors are measured performing specific tasks or activities at your agency. It is important that the tasks or activities are achievable at the agency and appropriate for a student to perform. The method of observation is a tangible way to measure whether or not a student has performed the task or activity outlined on the learning agreement. It is important to record an initial achievement date to assist the student in task management and time allotment. Please note that although a learning agreement is a contract between the student and the agency on what will be accomplished during their field placement, it is not a contract set in stone. It is not uncommon to develop tasks or activities that appear to be achievable in the beginning of the placement, only to learn at the midterm new tasks or activities are needed. Lastly, many of the tasks or activities in the learning agreement are applicable to more than one practice behavior. Feel free to use the same task or activity for more than one practice behavior under more than one competency. Now, let's take a look at what a completed learning agreement would look like for competency number 1. In this example, a student outlined tasks and/or activities that they would perform at their agency and how these tasks and/or activities would be observed. Notice that the student indicates in the method of observation section that they will obtain feedback forms from coworkers. A student may create a feedback form to be used for multiple methods of observation in their learning agreement. As stated earlier, it is the student's responsibility to take a stab at writing their learning agreement first and then sharing it with you for potential approval and tweaking. Should you need help coming up with tasks and/or activities, your faculty liaison would be happy to assist you. Evaluation for field placement must be completed by the field supervisor and then reviewed with the student toward the end of the semester. It is returned to the faculty liaison who will use it as a basis for advising the student as well as grading the field experience. The faculty liaison will come out to the agency to review the progress of a student in their placement at the end of the fall and spring semester. You will see that the student evaluation has the same competencies and behavioral descriptors as the learning agreement. You will rate the student based on the consistency with which these behaviors have been met. Other evaluations that take place in the field process include the evaluation of the field supervisor by the student and faculty liaison, and evaluation of the faculty liaison by the student. The evaluations are considered as I plan for next year's placements. Any problem areas identified in the evaluations will be discussed with the field supervisor. The faculty liaison is evaluated by the students assigned to his or her section of the field seminar. The evaluations are submitted to the program director, who is responsible for communicating any concerns to the faculty liaison. The social work faculty at River Falls is serious about the continued growth and improvement of the program. Feedback from students as well as outside sources is invaluable to that process. This slide provides you a view of what the evaluation of field performance document looks like for competency number 1. A couple things I want to point out on this form. First, all practice behaviors are scored independently from one another. The scale that a student is evaluated on ranges from a student demonstrating the practice behavior consistently to the agency not being able to provide the opportunity for the student to perform a respective practice behavior. An example may be a macro-level agency that does not have micro-level experiences available for a student. The difference between a practice behavior not observed and never is that a student had an opportunity to perform the practice behavior but was not able to demonstrate it. This would be scored as never. We encourage all field supervisors to add comments to each competency, including both strengths and challenges of the student's performance. Should you need help with the evaluation process, please do not hesitate to contact your faculty liaison.